It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
Hey guys, how is it going? And welcome to the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. It is Wednesday, August 20th, and so happy for you joining us. We are ready to start another day together with the Lord. So subscribe to us on YouTube, do not follow us on SoundCloud, and make sure to support us on Patreon. So today we have an exciting podcast for you. We have some more news on Netflix, the Evangelism Word Study, and of course commentaries, updates, and news on what is happening around the world in this history today. All right, everyone, how are you doing? It's a wonderful and awesome Wednesday. Hope you guys have enjoyed your week thus far. We're already in the midway point. Tomorrow we have Q&A Thursday, and it's every single week, so get those questions ready. Send them to me whenever you can. And if you haven't yet, please leave a like and comment to build our community. Just super happy for everyone joining us every weekday on the Morning Star Drive. So let's get up and support each other each and every day. This week's Sunday Miss title, there are three. Number one, God and the Holy Spirit work through the body. You must evangelize. Only then will God let your wishes and the wishes of providence be fulfilled. And last, Jehovah Jireh or Yehovah Ide. All right. So yes, it's already Wednesday, guys. We have Wednesday service tonight. I hope you guys are looking forward to that. Another wonderful and awesome message. And Sun Team's given out like tons of messages lately. Of course, we have the special prayer meetings, we have the retreats, we have department meetings. Like there's a ton of stuff going on. Hope you guys have been enjoying all these things too. For myself, it's been, guys, if you think about it, it's been only 5 days since Netflix has come out. And for me on this channel, I do want to be as transparent as possible. And I'm going to be very transparent right now too, is like, I haven't even watched Netflix. Like I have a friend of mine who watched it. I honestly have no interest in it. I just don't, guys. It's so weird for me at this time. I haven't watched it, and I thought to myself, I'm going to watch it and this, but I really don't have any interest in it. I just don't. It's just my thoughts I'm going through, and it almost feels like this is the attitude almost everyone in the entire world. Now, I'm going to say including Korea, and I'm going to get into why it's kind of like that too. So, I'm checking all the Western countries, and guess what? There's zero interest in it. There might be some Koreans out there that are watching it, and like in the Korean communities in the Western countries, but overall, Netflix is not really that big. So far, in every country that I've checked, it's like minimal to zero effect. So far. It's only been 5 days, right? But it's interesting because I thought it would be, I thought it would be a lot bigger even here in Korea. I really did. But there hasn't really been anything big. So far, most of the countries, almost all, like Netflix has not hit top 10. In almost every country, I think except Korea and maybe in Taiwan, but even then, it's little to no effect. And I'm going to tell you guys this is the part that's going to be a little bit interesting. And I hope you guys will see this as a great sign. But even in Korea, so like, in Korea right now, it's like number 2. So it was number 1 for like 3 days and then it's dropped to number 2. But do you know why people are watching this documentary? This is the most interesting part for me too, that I just found out a couple days ago is not because of Providence. The reason why it's so popular in Korea and other communities around the world is because of another episode. So, I think there's 4 episodes in the 3 and 4 are on Providence and stuff like that. But I think it's on either episode 1 or 2. I haven't seen it, guys. But what I've heard and what we've seen, what's happening here in Korea is people are really upset about the other story that they did a documentary on, which is quite interesting, don't you think? The only reason it's popular is not because of what it says about Providence, but it's because of what is said about another crime. So that is something that I find very, very interesting, and that's like the big thing that Korean communities are very much focused on too. So I just found that to be quite like ironic that, Netflix wanted to make this all about Providence, but they had to put other stuff into it. But more interestingly is they're getting a lot of flack for things nothing to do with Providence. The popularity is because of another show. right? So even for me, like I'm gonna tell you guys this right now, I have zero interest in it. I really don't. I don't, and I think there's a couple things that I've been thinking about when I think about this. Right. So, I thought to myself, I was like, oh, it's going to be really huge, big, at least in Korea. And yes, it has been huge, but for different reasons and for another story. Right. And, for me on my end, it's kind of funny. I'm just like going, man, from what some of my friends were watching it and they told me like all about it. I was like, oh, just like rehashing old stuff and it's just like accusations. There's nothing really factual and stuff like that too. So I was just like, oh, like do I even want to waste my time on this kind of thing, right? And yeah, and then I thought to myself, what's a better way to support on Netflix? I was like, well, I don't want to watch that, and I don't want to support that program. So I was like, you know what? I should support the programs that are like first and third and fourth. You know what I mean? Like just turn them on. Just leave them on so that they have more popularity. You know what I mean? Like if before like even for me, I'm just like, I should just turn on like when the Netflix documentary was number one, I was like, I should just put on number two, like the number two popular one. Just put that one on and let that one go, kind of thing, right? And I was like, yeah, that's probably gonna be a better way to do it. So even for me, I was just like, nah. I'm just gonna put on and then it went the number two went back to number one. And then the Netflix documentary went to number two. And then I'm like, you know what? We should support number three. So number three overtakes number two and stuff like that too. So, for me, I was really thinking about to myself is what's the reason why it's like not very big anywhere? Like I'm talking, all my friends I'm talking to in different countries, they're like, little to no effect. And most people are not even watching it. And the places that are watching it, they're watching it for the different reasons. Do you know what I mean? So, I'm like, that's quite interesting. And I was kind of thinking to myself why it's different this time than it was last time. Okay. So I was thinking to myself is like, what was the difference between last time and this time? And I realized a couple things. Like I was talking to a friend of mine and a friend of mine was struggling through something and they were kind of like feeling very sensitive to a certain topic. And in my head, I was like, oh, you know what? Not only like one of the issues that we could be dealing with in life is not just the topic that we're dealing with, is sometimes we're struggling with some things and we become more sensitive to certain things too because of all the other things going on. And then I thought to myself is like, oh, that's got to be the same thing with like, Netflix. What's the difference between 2023 and today in 2025 with the two Netflix that come out? And when I really thought about it, it was back then was way different. Like way different. There was just too many things going on at the same time. So let me give you some examples of things that kept piling on top of each other. Like for instance, remember I've talked about this all throughout during that time, the end of 2022, when obviously KJS was like, oh my gosh, all of you guys should get married, and that's a big thing because that's a huge life change, right? So that was on my mind. And then Sunsteam's trial began in January, right? So there's two things already one on top of each other. Trial is just starting, so it's really confusing, and the emotion is fresh. And then 2 months later, what happens? 2 months later, Netflix comes out, and then 10 days later, KJS goes off. So even before that, we had a pandemic. We were still in mid-pandemic, right? So when you really think about it, during that time, it was really crazy. Like really crazy. So what do I mean by crazy? One on top of the other. The trial just started. Emotions are fresh. At that point I was getting ready for a lifestyle change. At that point Netflix comes out. At that point, we have, the biggest one was KJS, right? We had a ton of things happening at the same time. And that's what made it more chaotic and more confusing. And we're like, oh my gosh, look at this. And then, Netflix has an even bigger impact on us because of all the different things that were going on at the same time. Now, if you think about it today, and we're like, okay, Netflix 2 is coming out, this, and this. And, we're kind of like, we're really prepared for it now because we already went through Netflix 1. So now we're prepared. And to be honest, that's the only thing we're dealing with. yes, Sunseam's trial is still going on, but we've been going through this trial for over 2 years, like 2.5 years, which means if it's been 2.5 years, we're already like matured in our emotions and how we react to the trial. So we're kind of like, Sunseam's in the trial, the best thing we could do is pray, and we kind of move on from there, right? So when you think about that too, we're like, oh, so we're already like reached a certain point where we're not like nervous and like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen with Sunseam's trial? We're totally not in that. We've already been through one Netflix, and now, way more prepared than we were the first time, which means what? Which means that nothing is urgent, nothing is desperate, nothing is like, oh my gosh, what is happening? We're not facing any of those things at all. And we're just kind of dealing with it. We're over certain stuff, and now we're kind of here. And it's really interesting, just like for me talking to my friends from everywhere. We're talking the vast majority of people are like, yeah, okay. And the funnier part is some people are not even interested in Netflix. They're like, it's like not even a thing. Like, yeah, I got better things to think about. I got better things to do. When in the past, we're like going, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Like Netflix, oh, what's going to happen? Nothing like that at all. It's like it's a completely different attitude, and it's a different, I don't know what you'd say. It's a different attitude and different feeling of what is happening at this time. And I actually think that we've matured more. Like, of course, you're going to have one or two people that are going to be like, oh, I'm really going to watch this and I'm going to really do this. But it's from all the people I'm talking to, most people don't care. Like they have bigger things to think about than this. And that's what I find, and it makes it quite interesting. I don't know, like what is your thoughts on it? Like even for me, like I've been talking about this for like the last couple of weeks, and it's almost like the anticipation is growing and growing and growing, and then it's so disappointing. We're like, all right, whatever. It's kind of, you know that feeling like it's like, like when people hype up something, it's like you're talking about it. And then when it actually comes out, you're like, yeah, it's not that, it's like, in life, it's not that big. And I think it's actually a good thing. Like that we were over prepared. And in the end, no one really cares. Like, it's like, oh, it's coming. And it's kind of like it's a bomb that has like nothing inside of it, where you're lighting the fuse. We're like, oh my gosh, and it goes, and the fuse gets to the bottom, and there's no explosion. And I just kind of sit there like, that's quite interesting. And you guys can tell me if it's any different, but everyone I've talked to, it's like, it's not a big deal. It's not anything that's really like affecting. It has little to zero effect on most places and people that I talk to. And I'm sure, they're checking on other people and they're checking on other people too. But in the end, it's kind of just like, there's not much going on in the foreign countries. Now, that's what I'm saying about these first 5 days, which is usually where it's like the big burst of emotion comes out. But I just find it really interesting that it's in this documentary, the big hype is not even Providence. So even when I look at like, I'm gonna like, you guys might not see it right now. I'm gonna like open up to Netflix right now too, and I'm gonna tell you straight up where it is right now. And guess what? Number 2. And what's even more interesting is like the what do you call it? The thumbnail for it. This is an interesting part. The thumbnail for it isn't even Providence. The thumbnail for it is the other topics. Tell me that's interesting. And that, doesn't it kind of give you doesn't it kind of just give you the feeling like, oh, so even Netflix knows it's not popular because of the Providence section. It's popular because of the other stories instead. Like that's what's causing this hoopla to happen, right? So when I saw this, I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting that they even changed the thumbnail, where the original thumbnail, it was like Maple's face as the big one on it. But now we look at it and we're like, oh, okay. So it's no longer Maple's face. It's like someone's eye, and in the eye is one of the tragedies of the other stories. So you kind of get an idea that it's providence isn't the main and big thing that is happening. Do you know what I mean? So I just find it very, very interesting, and I find it something that we kind of look at and say, okay, so this is what's happening right now, and this doesn't mean that we relax. This doesn't mean that we say that, oh, it's done. It's just started, right? Usually we're at a point where we're looking at the start as the biggest point, and it starts to cool down, but it's not as big as we thought, and it's a different topic, but we must remain vigilant in making sure that we really, really keep praying for the situation, keep praying that people will be interested in other things, and keep praying that we can do things in such a way it'll be like, oh, this is what's happening. So, God, you have really been protecting us. And, God, you are really judging those that need to be judged, right? So I'm hoping it's something that we can all understand that, yes, we can kind of have a sigh of relief, but on top of it, not just the sigh of relief, we're really able to say then we can spend a lot more time in prayer. And we can see that the prayers that have already been made over the entire year have been working, and God is helping us even more than we expected, right? So that is something that I look at and I'm like, yeah, I think we have to be very, very grateful to God. We have to be thankful to God. Let's be those that, I'm gonna even go out and say this, is like, hey, we don't really need to watch. I'm going to tell you this straight up, is I don't think we really need to watch it, because it's like there's a lot of things in there that they're mainly accusations, but they don't have like an actual factual backing behind it. They're kind of just accusations and stuff, right? And even when I was listening to my friends, like, oh, okay, well, like even for me, I was just like, ugh. I don't want to go through half an episode where it's just talking about like recapping everything from the first Netflix. And I'm gonna say that, yeah, the first Netflix was probably a lot more shocking because, and it's kind of like what I said, bringing up all the what do you call it? Bringing up all the, bringing up all the other things that we are going through around the same time, and that's why it was happening like this. So, yeah, so it's interesting. So I think it's something that we can really think about and understand, and really have a mentality and mindset that we can really do things in a better way. And I hope it's something that all of us will really understand how much God is helping us, how much God is really taking us through each and every day. And, for me is, even though it's only been 5-6 days, I even consider this a win. I really do. Because usually the beginning part is like the hairiest part. But, and like last time, it all came out and like Korea was going nuts, and like Hong Kong and Australia and this and that country, Taiwan, like everywhere's just going nuts kind of thing at the same time. But this is kind of the place where we're like, oh, okay, well, this is what's really, really going on. Right. So for me is one of these, yeah, yeah. So, it's very, very interesting, but not interesting at the same time. Like does this sound bad that I don't have the not excitement, but like, I don't have that zeal for this Netflix too. Like, I just don't have it. I don't like, I don't know. Am I the only one who doesn't have that type of zeal for Netflix too? Like, it's kind of like, been through it. Yep. Done that. Been there, done that. Nothing new. It's just, it's just kind of, they're doing their thing again. And we got to just pray. We got to make sure, like, I get more excited when I'm praying, like, hey, God, judge them according to what they've done. That makes me more excited than, oh, God, help us with Netflix kind of thing. But, eventually I think everything gets down to a certain point where even us as a history, we're just so much more mature than we were before. And think about this. Just think about this. The Catholic Church has way worse allegations, with the priests and stuff. And it wasn't like they were like all panicking around the world. There wasn't. They've just become so big and they're so mature as a faith wasn't it, it's like, oh, okay, oh, let's just make sure that all those other people step down. Let's make sure that all the people who are responsible can no longer do this again. But it wasn't like this panic freaking out and like everyone's leaving the Catholic Church in droves. It wasn't like that at all. And it's because they've reached that level of maturity, which is far different, right, than what we have now. Like even for me, like in this third segment, when I do talk about Netflix and stuff like that, like I'll just talk about one of the facts and like, yeah, these are accusations are accusations, but let's just look at the reality, okay? So, yeah, I'm for those of you guys who are super excited about Netflix, and honestly, I don't think there's a lot of people that are super excited about it, but what I'm going to tell you guys is like, yeah, I don't have the excitement or the wow, this is happening, let's go fight it kind of thing. Mine is like, let's go evangelize. Like that's the thing. I'm like, let's go evangelize. Let's make ministry happen. Let's go and like make a fiery history happen. Because don't you guys feel it from the message when the message is like, hey, because you didn't evangelize, this is why these things are happening to me. And that's like piercing to the heart. Piercing. And for me too, I'm just like, we got to get ourselves grounded. Yes, we can know some of the information. It's good to know some of the information. It's good to know what's happening. It's good to know what is truth and what is not truth and all these. Like, remember all the times I have PROVI in the media every single Monday? There's so many things that I've said during that when you look at like the things that came out in Netflix, you'd be like, oh, we've already heard this before like a year ago. I'm dead serious. We've heard it like a year ago. And I'm just like, kind of, no, or not even a year, like months ago. We're talking at the beginning of the year and stuff like that too. I'm just like, guys, we're bigger than this. We really are. And I think the biggest thing is maintain our faith. Let's do our best. And I think that even people right now, like if they do watch it, I don't really think there's going to be any effect. I just don't. I don't know. I can already see the reaction around the world is no one cares. Like it's not big enough for people to care. And the Korean communities right now are way more focused on the beginning episodes, and they're in an uproar in Korea and other Korean communities around the world. They're in an uproar about that too. So interesting, don't you guys think? Yeah, so I think it's a good sign. I really do. So I will talk a little bit about it at the very, very end. But the thing that may surprise you guys is you've already heard this like at the beginning of the year. You've already heard it. And that's why I'll just be like, it's an accusation, but that's all it is. There's nothing else like real behind it, right? So either way, I will go over that in segment number 3. It'll be pretty short because it's something you guys have already heard, and you're going to be like, oh, is it even worth supporting it and watching it so that it climbs back up to number 1 or something like that? Personally, I don't even think it's worth it myself, right? And, most of us are mature and stuff like that too. And please here's one thing that I would have to say is please understand that, when it comes, like leaders are always going to be very defensive. And, when you say like, oh, I'm going to watch it, they're going to, come on, they're leaders. And they're going to say that. And they're going to be worried. They can't help it, right? They can't. And that's just a sign that leaders care. And they really, really do. Right? My thing I would say is just make sure that everyone knows that, hey, there's nothing wrong. Just wanted to see it or whatever it is. I know that everyone has a right to watch it or not. Sunsteep says there's no point of watching it either. And that's something I do think is a good thing that, when people don't watch it, it's not going to be like, oh, okay, whatever. I don't even think it's worth it this round. I really don't. So the first one I can see being a little bit more, but definitely the second round, it almost feels like it's not even worth it because there's a lot of rehashing and stuff that we've already known. And it's basically accusations for me. I'm just like, okay, whatever. I'm just like, whatever. Let's just get on with this and let's go evangelize and do these types of things too. But that's kind of like what my thoughts are right now and all the sentiment or all the reactions that I've heard so far. And it's kind of all at that level too. I'm just like, let's move on. But either way, so yeah, that's kind of what I'm going to talk about in segment number 3. It's going to be really short, but I'm pretty much it's stuff you've already heard from me this year too. But either way, okay. So there it is, guys. That is the end of segment number 1. Hope you guys really enjoyed it. Before we get into the evangelism word study, let's move into the first music break of the day.
We believe in the same God, but we are on different levels.
Put your hands in the sky if you feel alive. All the stories that we made, just you and I. Never losing all the passion. All this love is my obsession. Oh my gosh, this feeling got me heat stroke. His love like a billion pots about to heat though. I ain't never breaking from this bond, cause you and I are only one. If you ain't living with the Lord, then who you with? Who you with? If you ain't living with the Lord, then who you with? You with? You and get together with the Lord every day, all day. You and get together with the Lord all day, all day. You and get together with the Lord every day, all day. You and get together with the Lord all day, all day. Together with the Lord, I'm living my best life. Don't worry about a thing, you know it's only sunny life. We sing about memory stories that we share. We'll fall deeper in love as we stop and just stare. My eyes only on you, they sparkle with love. Don't forget my charm too. There will never be another. Live this life only for you. I give you this promise that I will hold true. If you ain't living with the Lord, then who you with? Who you with? If you ain't living with the Lord, then who you with? You with? You and get together with the Lord every day, all day. You and get together with the Lord all day, all day. You and get together with the Lord every day, all day. You and get together with the Lord all day, all day.
We believe in the same God, but we are on different levels.
All right, so let's get into today's evangelism word study. And you know what? There's just so much to glean from the Sunday message about evangelism. And Sunsim gave like amazing tips on evangelism and discernment and what to do when you meet these types of people, and what are the mistakes that we're actually making all the time too. Like one of the very first things that I got from the Sunday messages was Sunsim was giving his testimony on how he was evangelizing people. One of the very big lessons that we learned is a lot of these people that he's evangelizing, it was either the people in prison didn't like that person, or it's Providence people didn't like that person that Sunsim was trying to evangelize. And the first thing that Sunsim said is, hey, the thing that you have to try and figure out is not so much what the people say that, oh, this person's good or this person's not good. The first thing that we have to recognize is this someone that God likes? Is this someone that God wants to evangelize, that the Holy Spirit is looking at and saying, yes, we have to take care of these people? Like that's the very first thing that we have to think about. And I want all of us to think about that too, is how many times for us also are we the ones who kind of look at certain people and we're like, oh, I don't think we should evangelize him. I don't think we should evangelize this person. But how many of us are actually praying, asking God and the Holy Spirit and saying, God, is this the person that you like? Is this the person that you want me to evangelize? And I think that was one of the very, very first lessons I learned from the Sunday message, right? The second thing is, since he was giving like his strategy on evangelism, okay? And the second thing that I liked from the message when it comes about evangelism is our duty isn't to make people realize, it's to help them so that they can do it on their own, right? So it's like, even at one point, it seems like after evangelizing, you should leave them alone to live their lives of faith. And that's like really interesting, right? they have to take care of their own faith. So you have to give them time so that they can work on their own faith. But I do realize that sometimes when we're like quote unquote managing someone, it's almost like we are trying to live their faith for them, telling them to come out, picking them up, doing this and doing that. And it's like, oh, can you do this? Can you do that? And I was like, yeah, when you think about that, I thought it was quite interesting. Like, is that really something that, sometimes I thought about that in my head is like, to what point do we help? But sometimes like, yeah, after you evangelize, like, give them some time on their own so that they can live their own lives of faith, right? And the way Sansi put it was, it's like even at Jesus' time, Jesus used people when they were prepared, like properly prepared. And those that weren't ready, he left them alone, right? It's the same as unripe fruits, and he just waited for them, right? And Jesus wasn't like someone giving promises to people. And I've heard people who like lecture and stuff say that, hey, if you do this and this will happen. If you do this, God will bless you here. If you do this, God will bless you like this. Like people actually make those types of promises. And then it's kind of freaking you out because you're like, oh my gosh, what if it doesn't work out? And then that person's not going to believe in God, right? And you kind of put like unwarranted pressure on yourself, unwarranted pressure on people, right? So we have to be those. Our main thing is to sow the seeds, right? We just like Jesus kept sowing the seeds of the gospel to hundreds and hundreds of people. And he tended to them. And there were those that were ready and those that weren't, right? Some bore fruit and some didn't. And those that bore fruit, Jesus treated them. Even the ones that bore fruit, he split them into the lower, middle, upper grade. So think about that. For it's not just, all the people he gave the gospel to. He gave the gospel to hundreds, and only those that bore fruit he would split into lower, upper, and middle grade. Right? There was no force, no telling him to do this or that, and he allowed people to take action on their own, and he used those who became like big fruits, right? And, Jesus kept helping them with the word that, hoping that in the end that they're going to become even bigger and better. And they would act on, living the life of faith with all their heart, with all their soul, with all their mind and all their strength. And then when these people did really well, he would make sure that these people were appointed and given missions and stuff too. So we have to really understand, like, I think it's something that we have to do things and, we have to allow people to do things on their own. And, don't make these promises about whether it's going to work out or not. It's just they have to have faith. And remember, faith is regardless if things work out or not. Faith happens because faith happens and you keep faith regardless if things are good or things are bad. Regardless, right? So I hope that, we understand that our duty is to give the word. Just keep teaching the words. Let them grow on their own. If they grow, they grow. If they don't, they don't. And those that bear fruit, you kind of put them into lower, middle, and upper levels, right? So, it's something that I do think that when I looked at how the message was just really deep on evangelism, I thought to myself, I was like, wow, we really don't know like the Shimjang. We really don't know how God really wants us to evangelize. And you see that a lot of evangelism is done with our own thoughts and our own thinking. And because of that, what happens is we end up, like kind of like forcing people into this history and pushing them in. You know what I mean? And that's where bigger and bigger problems happen. But, I do understand it's like sometimes it seems like going, but because you didn't evangelize this, like all this stuff happened to me. But then, that makes people get a little bit more like, oh no, we got to do more work. We got to run more for this history. And, we got to evangelize more. And then it kind of puts they put a lot of pressure on themselves to go evangelize when they don't need to, where the bigger thing they need to do is just basically preach the gospel even more. Just keep preaching. Preach and teach the word. Don't force people. Allow people to do things on their own. See which people bear fruit and which ones don't. Right? Don't put too much expectation on one or two people. And I understand that some people will put a lot of expectation on one or two people, mainly because there aren't a lot of people that come to study, or we kind of use an evangelism style that's one-on-one more than preaching to the masses, right? And I hope it's something that we can eventually change, and we can start preaching to like a bunch of people, just giving the word, see what they do, and from that point on, those that bear fruit, we kind of bring them to the next level and stuff like that also, right? So that is something that I really thought was very, very important when it came to when it comes to the evangelism and what was talked about in the Sunday message. And I hope it's something that it kind of like opens our eyes to, hey, what are we doing wrong? And there's a lot. And there's certain things that we see that even lecturers and people who are teaching have to kind of change the mentality of how we do things in evangelism also. All right? So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to go over for the evangelism word study. Hope it's something that you guys enjoyed and you've gained something from. It's things that we can really think more deeply about. And without further ado, before we get into just a little part of the Netflix for that second episode, I hope that you guys will really be able to evangelize more than anything else. All right. So before we get into the next segment, let's move into the last music break of the day.
2023. We've all come a long way. Many different stories, but we're all on the same journey. Many, many ups and downs, but we're all still around. Many, many, many lessons, but each one came with a blessing. Let's not forget for when we come from when we make this confession. Some people just want to watch the world burn. As for you and I, let's set ourselves on fire, shine a light so bright that will make the people say, burning life, Look at the flames in my eyes, watch it burn, but don't stare too long, you might lose your sight. Some people gunning for our downfall, but they'll never see our demise. Burning life, who's the one? I'm the one, he's the one. Are you the one? No, we're the ones who keep the fire going till the day we die, till they see the light, make it bright, till we hear the people say, born sinner, never could be ill. I know I'm back from the dead, yeah, the Lord is my healer. I took the red pill, that's why I call him teacher. When you learn about the spirit, oh, there ain't nothing realer. The one you learn from determines your entire destiny. Learn from the one who taught about eternity. Cloud craving, paper chasing, the joy is only temporary. I don't wanna do the same thing, so I hard to count the vanity. I keep my eyes on the prize, I'll never sell my soul to the devil in disguise. With both hands on each side, I'm holding on to dear life. I keep my guard up, never back down. When it goes down, I call on the Christ. Spiritual battle, answer the call. It's Call of Duty, modern warfare, put the armor of God. They're fighting Lucy with a rock, I got atomic bombs. Love the Lord your God and all your brothers once the demons fall. Don't be deceived, know who the ops is. Keep the unity and peace, go far way across this. Came to preach the word of God like I'm born in Tarsus. Here to testify the things I've seen on road to Damascus. He's a real deal, the real thing, be glad you heard the King's speech. Blessed are those who reach the end and get to hear the Lord speak. GODs, POC, we fulfilled everything. Burning life, kerosene, burning life, legacy.
You will never see me stop in the future. The life that fulfills God's will continue. Everyone thinks I'm unfortunate because I go through suffering. But inside of me it's different. Because I walk the path of eternal life.
Burning life, Look at the flames in my eyes, watch it burn, but don't stare too long, you might lose your sight. Some people gunning for a downfall, but they'll never see our demise. Burning life, who's the one? I'm the one, he's the one. Are you the one? No, we're the ones who keep the fire going till the day we die, till they see the light, make it bright, till we hear the people say,
like Mary poured out her perfume on Jesus' feet, I must pour out my heart, mind, and love on the one who saved me.
Okay, so let's get into our final segment for today. And I did want to talk about this one part, an accusation that comes through the Netflix episodes. And this is where it is. It's just basically an accusation. And I've already actually talked about this in past episodes, but it's talking about how they're making accusations that there is this police department inside Providence that gathered together and like they're working against the police department and they're leaking information. Like all these accusations come out. And the reason why I say accusations is, right? And the one thing that I talked about, this was already like, because this was, there was a trial, or not a trial for this, but there was something where there's a prosecution going on for this. And it's just a claim, right? That, they're working together with the police department and the people in Providence that work there are working and leaking all this information and such, right? And the thing that you really need to know is for these police officers, no disciplinary action, no criminal prosecution against any police officer related to this matter, right? Which basically means that it's an allegation or an accusation, but there's nothing strong behind it. Now, wouldn't it be different if they made this accusation and there was like a huge criminal prosecution that these people leaked information and this was going on, and like there's complaints happen in the police station and people are saying that, if all these things, right? If there was even disciplinary action, then we'd be like, oh my gosh, it's possible because there's disciplinary action, or two is there's actual criminal prosecution happening. But the interesting thing is none of those things are going on, which means what? It basically means that it is just a baseless accusation. It's just, it's an accusation, but there's nothing real about it. And there's no evidence that shows that something like this actually happened. There's no, it's kind of something where you're looking at like, oh, okay. Now, imagine you heard this and you knew nothing about it in the background. Like, because, the only reason that I know this is because I have PROVI in the media every single Monday, checking the news, see what's happening. Is there going to be prosecution? But no criminal prosecution, no disciplinary action to any of these police officers, which means what? It means it's kind of like a baseless accusation of what they feel or what they think, right? So, this is the kind of things this is kind of one of the reasons why I'm just kind of like, ugh. It's kind of like we just look at it and you kind of want to move on. So that, for me, I'm going to tell you guys this too. That's kind of one of the things that I saw was kind of weird. Not weird, it's just like, you don't want to bother with it that much. If anything, what I hope that we can do? I hope that we can make our own documentary. That Netflix hires us, gives us a couple $1 million or whatever it is, so we can make our documentary of things that happened since 1999. I would love for that to happen. I really, really would. That would be amazing if we could do this professional documentary too. I think that would be just incredible. It really would. But, who knows? Is this something that Sunseam wants, right? Is that something that we should putting money and time in for? You know what I mean? So even for that, I understand that if it doesn't happen. But I think, oh man, that would be so cool if we had our own documentary on Netflix too, that went against all the things that they were saying, giving all the proofs and stuff like that too. But I know it's not going to be for everyone, but I also know it's going to be something where we're going to be like, yeah, well, most of us, we just got to focus on our faith and we got to focus on our churches. We got to focus on evangelism, stuff like that too. So for me, it's just kind of it's kind of wishful thinking for the future, but also I really looked at it and it's quite interesting. Either way. So there it is, guys. That is this Wednesday podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys have an amazing and awesome Wednesday service tonight. And we'll see you guys again tomorrow on the Morning Star Drive on 117.8.
It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and feel your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. I got my head in the zone.